People walk through life every day with the belief that they are truly free. Free to make any decision, free to pursue their desires without restraint. Yet what most fail to recognize is the unseen hand that subtly shapes their actions and choices. This invisible force operates in the background, relentlessly vying for control over our lives. It's a force that challenges us constantly, seeking dominance over our autonomy. At every moment, someone or something is exerting influence, imposing their will upon us. Take taxes, for instance. You don't simply choose to pay them, you are compelled. A decision made by others long before you dictates that every person must contribute a portion of their income. Someone somewhere decided that this was how society would function, and now their will governs yours. The laws you follow, the restrictions you abide by, all exist because others have imposed them upon you. These are not voluntary guidelines. They are enforced by powers beyond your control, shaping your behavior and limiting your choices. The very structure of society is built upon rules and edicts that were crafted by those in power, all designed to impose a particular order. But beyond taxes and laws, there is a more profound battle, a battle of ideas. Every day, opposing forces wage war, each side trying to impose its ideology, its vision, upon the other. Whether it's politics, religion, or culture, human history has been defined by this constant struggle for dominance. It is, in essence, a battle of wills, one side seeking to assert its influence over another. Throughout the course of history, the human race has been locked in this perpetual contest. Either you succumb to the will of others, or you impose your own. There is no true freedom in the absolute sense. We exist in a world where power is always at play, where the question is not whether someone's will is being imposed, but whose. In the end, you must choose. Will you allow others to shape your fate, or will you fight to impose your own vision upon the world? It's understandable to view this outlook on life as grim or even pessimistic, and in some ways it is. The idea of an eternal struggle for dominance may appear bleak at first glance, suggesting that life is nothing more than a continuous battle of wills. However, there's a brighter, more meaningful side to this philosophy. Far from being a purely negative reflection on human nature, it offers us a deeper insight into the human condition and the ways we interact with the world around us. This concept of constant struggle isn't solely about conflict and domination. Rather, it serves as a lens through which we can gain greater clarity about the forces that shape societies, cultures, and relationships. The struggle for dominance, the imposition of wills, is far more universal than we tend to realize. It permeates nearly every aspect of life, and when understood properly, it can reveal the underlying mechanics of human cooperation, governance, and progress. Consider, for example, the formation of a tribe 1,000 years ago. Imagine you had the unusual privilege of selecting your members as if you were assembling a team for a middle school dodgeball game. How would you choose? Would you select people who held wildly different, even violently opposing views from your own? Would you choose those likely to challenge or resist the vision you have for your tribe? Of course not. You would seek out like-minded individuals, people who share your values, your goals, your outlook on life. You wouldn't want internal strife or resistance to your collective mission. Instead, you'd prioritize harmony, unity, and shared purpose. Once assembled, the tribe would come together and agree on certain rules and behaviors that would govern their lives. Perhaps you all decide that no one shall take walks on Mondays, or that the tribe will worship a particular tree branch. These decisions, while perhaps arbitrary, would represent a collective agreement, an imposition of wills, yes, but one that is favorable and mutually beneficial. In this way, the struggle for dominance is not necessarily negative. It's not always about one person overpowering another. It can be a process of collaboration and compromise, where individuals come together to forge a shared path forward. The tribe, in this case, finds happiness and stability because everyone is on the same page. They've imposed their collective will on themselves, not through conflict, but through consensus. And anyone wishing to join the tribe must respect and adhere to these agreed-upon values. In essence, the imposition of wills is not inherently destructive. It's a natural part of human existence, one that can foster unity and cooperation when handled correctly. It allows people to come together, make decisions, and create order out of chaos. Through this perspective, we see that the eternal struggle is not just about dominance, but also about building frameworks for living together, about shaping societies that reflect shared beliefs and collective aspirations. But what's the point? Now that we've grasped the nature of this eternal struggle, where does it leave us? What are its implications for our lives, our society, our future? Some of you may not like what I'm about to say, but I believe the answer lies in embracing the struggle, not as something to be feared, but as something we are inherently bound to by the natural order of things. We are compelled by the very laws of nature to protect and cultivate our interests, to assert ourselves in the face of forces that seek to dominate and control. In the current system, a neo-corporate feudalist oligarchy, we have been stripped of our collective and social autonomy. We no longer possess the power to truly shape our own destiny as a people. Instead, we are forced to engage with the decaying remnants of what once claimed to be a democracy, a system now so deeply corrupt and fractured that any semblance of genuine representation has withered away. The choice before us is clear. Either participate in this charade or resist it. We've all been inundated with the relentless propaganda of the so-called democracy, taught to believe that everyone has a voice, that all beliefs are worthy of respect. And yet, when someone dares to stand up and say, "No, I do not want to live like this," they are met with ridicule, judgment, and exclusion. We are conditioned to feel guilt when we express our truest convictions, trained to silence our dissent in the name of unity and tolerance. But this unity is a lie. The truth is that we live in a system that serves the few at the expense of the many, where power is concentrated in the hands of those who impose their will without hesitation or conscience. For the past 60 years, we have lived in a society that lacks ideological cohesion. We can't even agree on the most basic, benign issues. The eternal struggle has never been more apparent, and yet it is a struggle that works against the interests of the people. The system in which we live ruthlessly crushes any form of resistance without remorse or hesitation. It is a machine that devours dissent, punishes nonconformity, and rewards only those who submit to its demands. So why should we feel guilt for standing up and saying, "I refuse. I will not live among those who compromise my values. I will not bend my beliefs for the promise of comfort or acceptance"? We must not compromise. We must not feel guilt or shame for our convictions. The only path forward is one of resistance. Resistance against a system that imposes its will on our communities, our faith, our families, and our very identity. We must fight the rot at its core. The system shows no mercy in imposing its will upon you, so why should you feel any obligation to comply? We should all be resisting with the hope that one day a future emerges that reflects the values and spirit of the people. A future where we are no longer bound by the dictates of a corrupt and broken system. The struggle is real and it is necessary. Only through resistance can we hope to reclaim the autonomy we have lost. Only through struggle can we hope to build a society that truly reflects what we stand for.
Looking at it philosophically, one can't avoid the conclusion that it is corruption, not tyranny, which leads to the overthrow of governments. A strong and vigorous government, no matter how oppressive, usually need not fear revolution. But a corrupt, inefficient, decadent government, even a benevolent one, is always ripe for revolution. The system we are fighting is both corrupt and oppressive, and we should thank God for the corruption.